When Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus named his match 23 to take on Japan at Wembley Stadium here in London on Saturday, there were two particularly noteworthy selections. Cheslin Kolbe was selected to start at fullback for just the second time in his Springbok career, with Damian Willemse unavailable for selection due to a hamstring strain. But also there was the naming in the starting lineup of 21-year-old tight head prop Zachary Porthen, a former South African under-20 captain on his first Springbok tour. But as Erasmus pointed out, with Thomas du Toit unavailable due to this test match being outside of the test match window, there was always going to be an opportunity for Porthen, and he's full of confidence in his ability.
Not just me, the whole coaching group, of course, there's a defense coach, he must, can Zach tackle, Zach can tackle, can he scrum, he get on, happy that he can scrum, obviously can he support in the line out. I think the biggest challenge for him was, he's probably one of the few players that didn't have a nice, slow get into understanding our systems 100%. But luckily enough for Dave Wessels, our high performance, or general manager of high performance, we're very in sync what junior box are doing and what the EPD programs are doing. So we know he's an athlete, we know he's a physical guy, and we know he's a guy who's 21, 22. So the opportunity is there, and we just felt maybe starting him in a game like this, and with a good hooker and a loose head next to him, and then having some solid backup on the bench is a nice soft landing for him. But he'll be nervous, but I think physically he'll be up to it, and will help him to be mentally ready.
You didn't want to risk Damian Willemse with a hamstring strain, and he was the only, you could say, out-and-out fullback selected for this tour.
Yeah.
But Cheslin Kolbe has played in the position before in the starting lineup, and was that also a fairly straightforward decision for you given the circumstances?
I think the other option could have been Mani to 10 and Sasha to 15, or Andre to 10 and Sasha to 15 and Mani onto the bench. But it's more for Sasha to get continuity and playing with Damian and with Jesse and making sure that all the different combinations get a bit of a chance of getting used to each other. And with Ethan really doing well and Kurtley coming back, you could put Kanan also on the wing if you wanted to, or Kanan at fullback. He certainly played that fullback also a lot. But we've worked a hell of a lot with Cheslin. Maybe people don't know how many game minutes. Obviously, only started one test match against Ireland. He's played a hell of a lot in the French clubs at fullback. And he's done it a lot of training sessions where he's always bracketed that he covers 15 within a game. So we're confident that Cheslin can do it at this level.
Couldn't help have a little smile when the bench was named with Andre Esterhuizen in jersey 20, not jersey 23.
Yeah.
So on this bench, selected as a replacement loose forward?
Yeah, it's probably, that's how it came across, and that's probably just being honest and thinking that, we want to get Sia some proper game time in this game and want him to, I think people all know we play players to a certain stage until they're tired, and we could have put Marco on the bench, go just purely 6-2, and Marco would have maybe replaced Sia at a few 60 minutes or 50 minutes, and Kwaga covering for Jasper, and Ruan covering for Pieter Steff. But yeah, when we wrote down the team list, we just put him in there, and automatically, obviously, everybody thinks that we more eye him as a six flank in this specific game, and they're rightly so. That's the way we see him in this game.
Eben played 80 minutes for the Sharks last weekend, not playing this weekend. Neither Pieter Steff du Toit, two of the most senior Springboks in the squad. But does that come down to managing minutes as well, with some of your more senior players looking ahead to the rest of the tour?
Yeah, definitely. So in a way to manage Eben's time and Pieter Steff's time, but also manage Loot's time or lack of time. And RG's lack of time, because he also had a bit of an injury when he was at Leinster. And also Franco Moster hasn't played for a while. So a nice thing would have been also to rest Ruan a little bit in this game, because he's really played a lot of minutes. But then we didn't have an out-and-out seven flanker cover as well. So yeah, obviously guys like Pieter Steff and Eben would be in the match set 23. But it's balancing guys' lack of game time, who's playing in the Japanese league with no rugby at this stage, and then other guys who's played a lot of matches.
And also refocusing on the reason you wanted this game as well, is to get some preparation time in ahead of the French test a week later.
Yeah, Matt, we've caught ourselves, and I think it was exactly that Irish Test match in 2022 when our first match was Ireland, and we had 6 or 7 Japanese base players in our team, and they haven't played for 3-4 weeks, and we only really got into that match here by minute 60 or minutes 65 to 70, and that we just felt giving those guys an extra match. That's why the bulk of the players are probably Japanese base players with a lack of game time, and the team also understands that's why we pick the team.
It's a fascinating tour, isn't it? It's a long tour, and 5 opponents with distinctly different qualities that you've got to prepare for in consecutive weeks.
Yeah, I must say it's in my opinion, one of the toughest tours. Not just because we're playing Ireland and France, they are always difficult, but Italy, certainly they were up there when we played them. The second test was a bit better, but the first one we didn't do well. And then the Welsh test match, I always found the Welsh tough team to play against, and they'll be on their way back. They've got a new coach there. Now we started with Japan. Everybody talks about the whole Brighton thing that will always heavily be on our minds. So it's the first time in a long time that we play 5 matches at the end of year tour, and this is normally when we get a little bit tired, but we can't use that excuse anymore. And we wanted these 5 matches, so now we must deliver.
And a Japanese team arriving on the back of a very narrow defeat to Australia, a different proposition to when you last faced them in the World Cup in 2019?
Yeah, and even in the World Cup, and the warm-up match, I think, was convincingly that we beat them. But the actual playoff match, I think at minute 55, we scored a maul try of about 60, 70 meters. And that's how we actually won that match. It was a really tight match up until then. Tony Brown was actually one of the coaches coaching against us then. So I don't think, people are looking at this lucky upset when Japan beat Tier 1 nations. So when we analyze them and when we look at the profile of their players and the way Eddie has been coaching them, and obviously with Victor being involved and Gary Gold being involved, and a lot of their players play with our players in the league normally. So I guess that fear of bigger tier 1 nations is gone because they play with Malcolm Mark. I think the hooker who's playing, him and Malcolm is the same club. So he would have scrum against Malcolm every single weekend. So I just think they're not this minnow team that's going to surprise every now and then. I think they're just growing from strength to strength.
28th of October, Cheslin Kolbe's birthday, and also happy anniversary.
Yeah, I only saw that on WhatsApp, and they just sang a song for Cheslin and gave him a present there. I didn't know his birthday was on the anniversary of that, but it's nice. But we can't live in the past. It's now the future, and we must do well on Saturday.